Hello everyone. Today I am going to showcase you a short demonstration in between Shopify and Priority. We have developed a couple of integration points for it, and I'll start with the customer sync integration point. So we have a demo Shopify store which is connected with Priority ERP, and AppSeConnect has been using as an intermediate platform to synchronize the entire data report. So first of all, for customer, you can add a new customer having the contact and address details. So you can have the entire details of that customer. Let's say for an example, first name, last name, city, country, zip code, phone number. And once you save the entire data, you can open this AppSeConnect agent to synchronize the entire information. So there can be two ways to push the data. One is from Shopify to Priority and another is from Priority to Shopify. And also we support two ways to trigger the data. So first of all, one is the manual trigger through which manually you can synchronize the data, and other one is automatic trigger. So if you swap the current button, so you can find out the automatic trigger way through which there would be a scheduler watcher, and you can schedule the time period, like after how many interval you would like to synchronize your data. And the fastest is 1 minute, but definitely you can increase it like based on your requirement. Now for customer synchronization and for all the other integration points, I'll be doing it using manual trigger to complete the demo within a predefined time period, but definitely it can be done using automatic trigger mode as well. And for that, you do not need to do it manually. There would be an interval time period you have selected, and for that interval time period, the entire data will be synchronized. Now, once this entire details have been synced, I'll quickly go back to the customer tab of under the CRM option, and here I'll be finding out with the customer name to see that the customer is present or not. So when I type the customer name, you can find out the name, the customer code, the address, phone number, every details are there. And apart from that, if any other extra fields, any other extra UDFs customer needs to map in between Shopify and Priority, those attribute mappings or value mappings can be done by AppSeConnect team. And this customer synchronization is a bidirectional process. So if any existing customer data is there under the Priority store, so those information, those customer data can be synced back from Priority to Shopify as well. Moving on, the next process which I am going to showcase you, and that is item. For that, we are going to use the part catalog option under the inventory tab, and here you can provide the entire information for the particular product. So you can give the item part number, you can give the description or the name of the item. Under the additional details, there would be a flag which is purchased via website through which you can differentiate between the active and inactive items. So the items which you want to showcase in your Shopify store, you can check the flag having this particular option. And if you uncheck the flag, that means that would be selected as inactive items and that would not be synced back to your Shopify store. Under the prices and cost section, you can select the unit price for that particular item as well. You can select the attribute sets, attributes, and you can select the categories as well. So if your item has got different variants, for an example different sizes, different color, you can select the attributes from there. You can select the categories where you want this particular item to be showcased in. And we have got the e-part remarks tab where you can provide the description for that particular item. That's the part remarks basically. And here you can provide the item description, what description you want to have for this particular item. And once this entire details you provided from the Priority store, you can save the entire data, and that is generally auto populated. And from Priority to Shopify, there would be an integration point through which you can trigger the entire data. Now the entire process has been done for the product at part catalog. Now you can find out in the Shopify store that the item is present. The entire detail is there. So you can find out the item name, the description of the item, the tag has been mapped with the category option or category field in Priority. Under the variants tab, you can find out different attributes, which are sizes, colors, SKUs. So apart from that, if any other extra details you want to get mapped in between Shopify Priority, those details can be done. And it's a bidirectional synchronization process. So if you have any existing product data available in your Shopify store, then those existing item details can also be synced back to your priority ERP. Okay, moving on, I am right now going to showcase you how you can increase the inventories, and for that I'm quickly opening the inventory count option under the warehouse control, and here I am going to select one date for it. So the last 24 hours transaction inventories can only be synced, and you can select one day before the current date. So let me quickly select the date which has been, one day before today. So let's say I am going to select the date of 28th of December. And after selecting the date, you can select the warehouse code or location code as well. And once it's done, you can select under the itemized inventory count, you can select the item for which you want to increase the stock. And after that, you can have the counted quantity, let's say 500, and you have to check this approved flag. And once the entire details have been saved, I'll quickly click on this particular integration point to see that whether the inventory has been updated or not. So definitely you can do it in automatic trigger way too. And for that, each and every time when you increase the stock, let's say from 200 to 400 to 600, it will be automatically adjusted in between Shopify and Priority. Now let me quickly go back to the item section, and if I scroll down, you can find out the inventory has been updated with the current one, let's say 500. Now, once inventory has been done, the item and customers are present in Shopify and Priority. Now, moving on the next process, which is order. So, there can be two ways to place the order. One is using the registered customer details, and another one is using the guest customer details. So, first of all, I am going to showcase you how you can place your order using the registered customer details. So, I'm quickly going back to my front end Shopify store, and here I'm going to select the item for which I want to place the order. So that's the item, and I quickly select this item to cart, and after that I'll proceed with the rest of the information. So here I've added the product size, product color, the attributes, and when I check out this particular option, you can find out the registered customer details are already added, because at the time of creating the customer from the Shopify front-end store, the details have been added. Now for the shipping method, so tax rate and freight charges can be properly mapped in between Shopify and Priority, and based on the requirement, we can do the needful. Now for the payment method, I'm going to use a dummy payment method for it, and for that I need to provide few of the details, and after once I'm done with the CVV number and other information from this particular Shopify store, I'll complete the order. And once the order has been completed or placed successfully from Shopify store, so there would be an integration point through which I can trigger the data. So that's the order add integration point. And once this process will be done, I'll quickly go back to my priority store and we'll see that whether the order has been successfully synchronized or not. Now, once the order has been done, if I going into the sales order tab, you can find out that that's the order ID, which is the customer PO number. And here would be the customer name and all the other details. If I going into the order items tab, you can find out that's the item details and that's the freight or shipment details. Now similarly for account credit card to change to, if I going into the account credit card to charge, you can find out the entire information like the authorization code, the payment code, the credit card number, everything has been present over there. And now for the shipping address, if you have to find out that whether the shipping address has been successfully synced or not, so if I going back to the address tab, you can find out every single information is there. So in this way, you can track your orders using the registered customer details. Now let me quickly showcase you how you can do this similar method using the guest customer details. For guest customer, I'll quickly select one item, which item I want to add to cart after selecting the attributes from my Shopify front-end store. And when I going into the checkout option, here I can do the rest of the guest customer details. So since this is a guest customer, the customer has not had an account in the Shopify store. So here I'm going to provide the mandatory information for this. That's the email ID, and that's the first name and last name for it. And once I am done with this, I can select the address, I can select the rest of the company name, the country, and all the information. So once I am going to have the entire data for this particular guest customer, the order will be fetched against a default customer code in priority. So if I going into the next step, which is the tax and freight charges, so these can be properly mapped, as I already said, in between Shopify and priority. And now for the payment method, here also I am going to select one dummy payment method. So here I'm just quickly mention the rest of the information which is a required field in order to complete the steps from here. And once I'm done with this, I'll quickly complete the order from Shopify store. So the order has been completed. We have the entire data present. And now let me quickly do the synchronization to see that the data has been completely successfully synchronized to the priority store or not. So once this process will be done, I'll quickly go back to my priority store. Now you can find out that under the sales order option, that's the order ID, which is the customer PO number, and that's the default customer code against which I am going to synchronize the entire order data. That's the customer name and all other extra information. So if I going into the order items tab, that would be the item number, name, and the shipment, and everything has been there. Now if I going into the account credit card to charge option, the authorization code, payment code, everything has been there, all the required data. And if I going into the shipping address, that's the customer name, guest customer name, and that's the address details. Apart from that, if any other extra fields that needs to get mapped in between Shopify and priority, we can also do that. So these are a couple of integration points that we have developed for this demonstration. If you have any other questions, if you have any other further requirements, you can directly contact with us. Thank you.